What if I told you that the secret to becoming wealthy has nothing to do with luck and everything to do with the way you think? What if one single thought, one decision, could change the entire course of your life? Napoleon Hill spent over 20 years studying the most successful people in the world. And what he discovered is not just a method to make money. It is a method to shape destiny itself. Today, we begin that journey. In the 1930s, the Great Depression crushed the dreams of millions. Banks collapsed. Businesses shut their doors. Families lost everything. But there was one man who believed that even in the darkest times, the mind had the power to create wealth, hope, and opportunity. That man was Napoleon Hill. He interviewed industrial giants, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie, and from them, he distilled a philosophy, a formula for success that would later be published as Think and Grow Rich. Real-life story, building engagement. Let me tell you the story of a young man named Edwin C. Barnes. Barnes was not rich. He had no special education. He did not have influential friends. But he had a burning desire, a single, unshakable thought. I will work with Thomas Edison. He did not know Edison personally. He did not even know where the opportunity would come from. But one day, he boarded a freight train, traveling hundreds of miles, with nothing but the clothes on his back. When he arrived at Edison's laboratory, he told him directly, "I have come to go into business with you." Most people would laugh at such a statement. But Edison later said, there was something in the expression of his face which conveyed the impression that he was determined to get what he came after. Barnes started as a lowly salesman. No title, no prestige, but he worked with fierce dedication. Until the day came when Edison gave him a chance to sell his new invention, the Ediphone. Barnes sold it so successfully that he eventually became Edison's business partner. All because he thought himself into that position and never let go of the vision. Author quote, Napoleon Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." That is not just a motivational phrase. It is the foundation of every story in this book. Lesson for the viewer. Barnes did not wait for the perfect conditions. He did not say, "I will try when I have more money," or "I will start when I am ready." He decided, then acted. This is the first principle of Think and Grow Rich, desire. Not a vague wish, but a burning, definite, unshakable desire that refuses to be denied. Hill reminds us, your life will change the moment you stop making excuses and start making decisions backed by relentless action. Suspense build for next episode. But here is the question. If desire is the starting point, how do you transform it into reality? Because many people have dreams, yet most never see them come true. In the next episode, we will uncover the exact process Napoleon Hill learned from Andrew Carnegie, a process so powerful that it became the blueprint for countless fortunes. And trust me, this will surprise you. If you're ready to reprogram your mind for success, if you want to unlock the thinking patterns that create wealth and opportunity, subscribe to Brain Behind Books now, because every week we uncover the ideas that can transform your lifestyle, your career, and your future. In our last episode, we met Edwin C. Barnes, a man who turned a bold dream into reality by using one unstoppable force, desire. But desire alone is only the spark. To turn that spark into fire, you need something else, something invisible, yet more powerful than any obstacle. And that is where Andrew Carnegie comes in. The Carnegie Encounter real-life story. In 1908, Napoleon Hill was a young journalist. His assignment seemed simple: interview the steel magnate, Andrew Carnegie. But what Carnegie shared with him would change Hill's life forever. After speaking for hours, Carnegie revealed his belief that success could be reduced to a simple formula. A formula that, if taught to the average person, could create wealth and opportunity for anyone willing to learn. Then, Carnegie made a shocking proposal. He told Hill, "I will introduce you to the most successful men of our time, if you are willing to spend the next 20 years studying them and writing down the philosophy of success." But there was a catch. Carnegie would not pay him. Hill had just 60 seconds to decide. Imagine that moment. A lifetime opportunity, but no money, no guarantee, just a challenge that could consume decades of his life. Hill said yes, in less than 30 seconds. That decision led him to meet icons like Edison, Ford, Graham Bell, Rockefeller, and to uncover the principles we are learning now. Principle 2, faith. The second principle Hill teaches is faith. Desire gives you a goal. Faith convinces you that it is possible. Hill wrote, "Faith is the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration and translates it into its spiritual equivalent. Faith is not blind hope. It is a state of certainty, a mental belief so strong that your mind begins to act as if your goal is already real." Real-world application. Think of an athlete training for the Olympics. They are not merely hoping to win. They are visualizing victory daily. Their body and mind are aligned toward a single outcome. Faith works the same way for wealth and success. When Barnes boarded that freight train to meet Edison, he had no logical reason to believe it would work. But his faith was so complete that his actions aligned with his vision, until the universe eventually matched that belief with reality. The psychological twist. Here is where it gets interesting. Your mind does not easily distinguish between reality and a vividly imagined belief. When you repeatedly affirm and visualize your success, your subconscious begins to search for ways to make it happen. It alters your decisions. It sharpens your focus. It draws opportunities toward you. Opportunities that were invisible before. This is not magic. It is the science of mindset. Suspense build for next episode. But here is the question. If desire is the goal, and faith is the belief, what actually bridges the gap between thought and reality? In the next episode, we will uncover the practical, step-by-step plan Napoleon Hill recommended. A plan that transforms dreams into physical results. Miss it, and you might miss the single most actionable part of this entire philosophy. If you have not subscribed to Brain Behind Books yet, do it now, because in the next part, we are turning theory into action. In episode 1, we saw how Edwin C. Barnes transformed burning desire into reality. In episode 2, we learned from Andrew Carnegie and Napoleon Hill that desire alone is not enough. You must add faith, the unshakable belief that your goal is possible. But even with desire and faith, there is one more crucial step. Without it, dreams dissolve into wishful thinking. Transition to the new principle. Napoleon Hill called it a definite plan. It is not enough to say, "I want to be rich," or "I want success." You must know exactly how you intend to get there and be ready to act. Real-life story, planning in action. Let me tell you about Henry Ford. In the early 1900s, Ford had a vision to create an affordable automobile for masses. Most experts said it was impossible. Cars were for the wealthy. Factories were expensive. The technology was too new. But Ford had more than desire. He had a definite plan. He broke the problem into clear steps. Reduced production costs through assembly line efficiency. Standardized parts for mass manufacturing. Train workers to specialize in one task. The result? The Model T. It changed the world and made Ford one of the wealthiest men of his era. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not." How this applies to you. Think about your own goals right now. Do you have them written down? Do you know the exact steps you will take in the next week, the next month, the next year? Or are they just ideas floating in your mind, waiting for the right time? Hill warns us, waiting for the perfect conditions is the fastest way to fail. You begin now, then you adapt as you move forward. The psychological advantage. When you create a plan, even if it is imperfect, you give your mind a blueprint. Your subconscious starts looking for resources, people, and opportunities to fit that blueprint. Without a plan, your brain drifts, your energy scatters, and your dream stays in your head instead of in your hands. Suspense build for next episode. But here is the challenge. Even with a plan, most people quit. They face obstacles. They lose motivation. They give up before success arrives. Why? Because they lack the next principle in Napoleon Hill's formula. A principle so powerful that he'll set it as the glue holding all success together. In the next episode, we will reveal that principle. It will test your character and decide whether you win or fade into the crowd. We have learned desire, the spark that starts everything. Faith, the belief that makes it real in your mind. A definite plan, the blueprint for action. But there's a problem. Even with all these, life will test you. It will test your patience, your courage, your endurance. And most people fail this test. The battle. Introducing persistence. Napoleon Hill called this principle persistence. He wrote, "Persistence is to the character of man what carbon is to steel. It is the force that hardens you, shapes you, and makes you unbreakable. Without it, every dream you have will crumble at the first obstacle." Real-life story, the gold rush lesson. Let me take you to the late 1800s. During the Colorado Gold Rush, a man named R.U. Darby and his uncle bought mining equipment. They dug for weeks and finally found a gold vein. Excited, they kept digging. But after a short while, the vein disappeared. They kept trying. Nothing. Frustrated, they gave up and sold their equipment to a junk dealer. That dealer brought in an engineer to study the mine. The engineer discovered that the gold vein had simply shifted and was just 3 feet from where Darby had stopped digging. The junk dealer made millions. Darby? He learned a lesson he carried for the rest of his life. Never quit when you're 3 feet from gold. Lesson for the viewer. Persistence is not about blindly pushing forever. It is about adjusting, trying again, and refusing to let temporary defeat become permanent failure. Most people quit right before they would have succeeded. Hill observed this in every successful person he studied. They all had the ability to keep going when everyone else walked away. How to build persistence. Set a clear goal that you truly care about. Expect obstacles. Plan for them in advance. Surround yourself with people who encourage action. Take daily steps, even if they're small. Persistence is a habit, and like any habit, it grows stronger the more you use it. Suspense build for next episode. But there is a secret weapon, one that makes persistence easier and multiplies your chances of success. It is something the greatest minds of history used intentionally. In the next episode, we will uncover the mastermind principle and why it can turn one person's dream into a global success story. We have seen the fuel, desire, the belief, faith, the map, definite plan, and the endurance, persistence. But there is one more force that can multiply your progress faster than anything else. The hidden superpower, mastermind. Napoleon Hill called it the mastermind. And no, it is not just about being smart. Hill described it as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between 2 or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. When you combine your mind with others in perfect harmony, you create a third, invisible force, greater than the sum of its parts. Real-life story, the power of alliance. Let's go back to the days of Henry Ford again. Many people think Ford built his empire alone, but Ford had his own mastermind group. It included Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, John Burroughs. They met regularly, shared ideas, pushed each other to think bigger. When one of them faced a problem, the others brought fresh perspectives, resources, and connections. These meetings were not casual. They were intentional. They were the fuel behind each man's massive success. The lesson for you: you can only go so far alone. Your perspective is limited. Your skills have blind spots. But when you surround yourself with the right people, people who share your vision, who challenge you, and who bring their own expertise, your growth accelerates. It is like plugging your brain into a network of power. How to build your mastermind. Choose people who are positive and ambitious. Meet regularly with a clear purpose. Be open to feedback and ready to give it. Keep the group focused on mutual success. Hill emphasized harmony. Without harmony, the group's power collapses. Psychological insight. when you are accountable to others. You work harder when others believe in you. Your faith grows when you brainstorm together. You unlock ideas you could never reach alone. The mastermind is not just about networking. It is about interlocking your ambitions with others until everyone rises together. Suspense build for next episode. But there is a dangerous trap that can silently destroy your mastermind, your persistence, and even your definite plan. Napoleon Hill called it the invisible enemy. In the next episode, we will expose that enemy and how to defeat it before it destroys your chance at success. We have traveled far, from desire to faith to definite plans to persistence and the mastermind. But there is a force, silent, unseen, that can undo all of it. Napoleon Hill called it the invisible enemy. The threat, setting the mood. This enemy does not strike loudly. It does not announce itself. It seeps in quietly, and before you realize it, your dreams are gone. It lives in your mind. It whispers in your ear. It tells you, you cannot do it. It is too risky. You are not ready. It feeds on fear. Naming the enemy, fear and doubt. Hill identified 6 basic fears. Fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, fear of old age, fear of death. But behind them all is the fear of failure. Fear freezes the mind. It destroys faith. It weakens desire. It paralyzes action. Real life story, how fear killed a dream. There was a talented inventor named Elisha Gray. In the 1870s, he had developed a working design for the telephone, but he hesitated. He delayed filing his patent, second-guessing whether it would work. On that same day, Alexander Graham Bell filed his own patent. History remembers Bell. Few remember Gray. Fear cost him his place in history. Lesson for the viewer. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Fear is nothing more than a state of mind, and one state of mind is subject to control and direction. The enemy is not the market, not competition, not even bad luck. The enemy is surrendering to fear." How to defeat it? Replace fear thoughts with affirmations of faith. Surround yourself with people who encourage action. Take small steps daily to build confidence. Focus on what you can control and act on it now. Fear loses power the moment you take action. Suspense build for next episode. But here is the good news. Hill did not just identify the enemy. He also gave us a final set of tools to build an unstoppable mindset and turn all 13 principles into a working, personal success formula. In the next episode, we will bring everything together into one powerful system you can use immediately. We have reached the end of our journey, from the spark of desire to the unshakable belief of faith, to the clarity of a definite plan, to the grit of persistence, to the power of the mastermind, and the victory over fear. You now hold the same keys Napoleon Hill uncovered from the greatest minds in history. The final real-life tie-in. Think of every legendary achievement you admire, every fortune built, every breakthrough invention. Look closely, and you will see these principles in action. Henry Ford building the affordable automobile. Thomas Edison creating the light bulb after thousands of failures. Barnes stepping into Edison's office with nothing but belief. They were not born with special advantages. They used a process. The same process you have just learned. The complete success framework. Napoleon Hill left us with a system. 13 principles connected like gears in a machine. Here is your blueprint. Desire, define what you truly want. Faith, believe it is possible and act with certainty. Autosuggestion, speak and think your goals daily until they become part of you. Specialized knowledge, learn the skills needed for your goal. Imagination, create new ideas and solutions. Organized planning, build your step-by-step roadmap. Decision, act quickly and with commitment. Persistence, keep going when others quit. Mastermind, surround yourself with the right allies. The subconscious mind, feed it with empowering thoughts. The brain, use it as a broadcasting and receiving station for ideas. The sixth sense, develop intuition through experience. Defeat fear, master the 6 basic fears that hold you back. When these principles work together, they create momentum, and momentum creates results. The empowering close. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." This is not just a quote. It is a challenge, a call to action. The book is called Think and Grow Rich, not Wish and Grow Rich. You must take the first step. No one will hand you success. It is earned through thought, belief, and relentless action. Right now, your story is still being written. Will it be a story of hesitation or a story of courage? Final push to action. If you are ready to think differently, to act with intention, to surround yourself with the right influences, then the tools are now in your hands. Use them. And when your life changes, when you achieve the goal you once thought impossible, you will look back on this moment as the day it began. This has been Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, brought to you by Brain Behind Books. If you gained value from this journey, subscribe now, because here, we turn books into action plans for your life. Your future self is waiting.